look, this is about Nervos CKB, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm here to basically interview you to basically rack your brains about what actually Nervos is. But before we do that, what I want to do is find out a little bit about you. Actually, I don't even know anything about you.
Yeah,
Apart from that, you're involved in a community in a big way for Nervos
Yes.
CKB. So yeah, so just actually, yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself. Actually, where do you live? I don't even know where you live.
Yeah, I live in Brazil.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes, I'm from Rio de Janeiro
Okay.
and lived there for 38 years, and then I came to São Paulo, which is the biggest city in Brazil.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
not so
Okay.
bad.
I didn't know that. I thought perhaps somewhere in South America or the US, but
Yeah.
no, that's great. And literally, okay. So how long have you been involved in crypto for, or are you relatively new, or because yeah,
So
I really don't know anything about you.
yeah, I've been in the IT industry for 20 years now,
Okay.
and but in 2008 in 2008 to 2011, I wasn't really doing too much work in the IT industry. I had a training and development company and took care of the IT for my company.
Did
So
Did you have an IT company?
us training and development
Oh, you
company.
did training and development. I
Yeah.
was in IT as well for 19 years, actually.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
it.
So, um, but yeah, I'm now in the process of selling my business. So yeah, but
Okay.
okay. So you're training and development for IT. What sort of
Yeah.
area in IT?
Um, I've been a software developer for, like I said, 20 years. So
Okay.
I've worked in so many different projects, like in the oil industry, in the dental care industry. I'm
Okay.
currently working to the biggest dental care um, uh, insurance here in Brazil today. Like they have like 7 million uh, users in Brazil. So it's
Okay.
a very big company. And I've been doing a tech lead job in there. I have a team of four, depending on the project, from 4 to 8 people at once. So we
Mm.
take care of. I work with the sales channels today. So
Okay.
this is the kind of thing I do. So we do all kinds of things for software architecture, automated testing, and negotiating with business users and the end user, and having all those
Okay.
complaints handled, conflicts, schedules, parallel
I
teams
know about
working.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, right? So it's
Yeah.
all yeah.
Yeah. I know. I know. Um, and okay. So when did you get into crypto then?
So the thing is, I in 2011, when I founded my company for training and development in the negotiation business, I loved the the area of negotiating conflicts and stuff and human relation human relations. So I've got a split career. So from 2010 to 2019, I was too much into the human development area, and
Mm-hmm.
just to using my IT skills to manage my systems and websites and kind of like that. And then I got out of I was reading about crypto, but not following that much. So the first time I
Mm-hmm.
bought crypto was I was like, well, I saw Bitcoin crashing. There's this friend of mine who understands crypto very well. He owns an incubator here in Brazil, like an investment companies for
Mm-hmm.
investment company for startups, and he was into BTC for a long time. And then I saw the chart from BTC and I was like, oh, it will break the 2000 price. I'm gonna buy it now. So I got the full bull run, the last bull run from Bitcoin. I got from 2000 to 40K, and then discovered some other cryptos and went full full time in Nervos. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of like sort of Bitcoin stories about people who, have paid 10,000 for a pizza. I
Yeah.
actually had a friend. I actually had a friend of mine who, I think when Bitcoin first came out, he
Mhm.
was doing some website design for one of his clients, and um, the client said to him after he finished the work, he said, "Look, I really like your work. Do you mind if I pay you in Bitcoin? Like I can pay 2,500 Bitcoin for the work you've done." And my friend was like, "I don't want that bullshit monopoly money. I want real money." So he didn't.
Oh shit.
He took,
He
yeah,
didn't get it. Yeah. My
yeah.
decision on going to Bitcoin was I had some money set aside, and here in Brazil we're having hard political turmoil, especially with the coronavirus lockdown and everything. And I was thinking like I shouldn't just store that money um, in my fiat in my country's fiat currency. So I was looking for allocation in a better currency, and then I studied the dollar. U.S. political debate was going on, and the $1 trillion bailout and everything. I go like, that's not a good enough currency. I've done some investments in the past with trading shares from
Mm-mm.
companies in Brazil, and I also evaluated that opportunity. I go like, well, if I earn a profit in my country's fiat currency, it will actually continue going like dipping because
Mm.
we have the BRL, which is called the reais here in Brazil, like reals. We have the reals.
Okay.
But reais are plunging in face of dollar value. So we went to $1 for 2 reais like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to $1 for 6 reais right now.
Mm-mm-mm.
So I was like, I have to store the value I created in another kind of asset. And then I compared those, and I'm a libertarian by heart. When I looked at BTC price, I got all those experiences together. I went like, this thing is gonna explode. I'm gonna go to crypto full with my whole money. And then I just got all those reserves in reais. I put in the BTC, got the full bull run, couldn't even imagine what I was getting. I was like, all my
Happy
friends,
days.
yeah, all my friends were in stocks like, well, I'm earning money in this or that company. I was going, get out of Brazilian currency right now. You gotta be in crypto. Even dollar will just fall off.
Did you make that phone call from your Lamborghini?
Yeah, I went crazy when I saw how Bitcoin would just ignore the last resistance at 20K. I was like, holy cow, this is gonna be huge for mankind. Yeah, I was like that. And now I found a currency that I would really have a trust in it because I've been in this in IT industry, and I've seen a lot of times when the IT department uh, does a much better job than governments. Now I was like, this is the definite financial um,
Future.
ecosystem and architecture that we need. This is the internet of money.
Yeah, see, I'm with you. I completely agree. I think, when I
Yeah.
actually started to understand blockchain and to understand what actually is possible,
Yes.
I think this is, like you say, this is where the future is going to be.
Yeah.
We're not going to get governments that are going to print money, fraud,
Yeah.
censorship. That doesn't happen with blockchain technology. So moving on to that,
Uh-huh.
what actually attracted you about Nervos? Because many people actually that may be
Okay.
watching this don't really understand cryptocurrency or blockchain technology, and it's complicated anyway. But I know
Yeah.
Nervos, there's a huge buzz in the community about Nervos. Definitely, like when you were on the chats
Yeah.
and you see everyone, everyone's talking
I go like,
about it. So, what is some of that buzz really? What, you know?
okay. So when I bought BTC, I just was looking for a place to store my money, and I wouldn't say I was hoping to get a 10x or 30x or 100x. I just wanted a more efficient money to store what I had. So that was it. And then I started to, I didn't want to have the hassle of buying and selling because I have my day-to-day work. I love being a programmer, a tech lead. I'm working with IT teams. I was just looking for a place in which I could have peace of mind that my work, that my money was being taken care of and will be
Mm-hmm.
preserved. And then I looked at BTC and I was like, okay, we have BTC. Let me look for other things in crypto. Let me learn about it. I want to actually develop apps and apps on blockchain. So I was studying. I have been studying blockchain for much more time than I have been investing in it. And then with a good sum of money on BTC, I start to study other currencies, and then the light bulb went in, and I was like, well, I'm going to do some trading here just to experiment. I bought Acro, I bought Reef, I bought Dot. I bought most of the hyped coins and got some money out of them. I've learned a lot about trading in the last 3 months, and one of them is it's too easy to make money in the bull market. So I shouldn't regard myself as
Yeah.
as an intelligent person because of that. If I'm earning money in the crypto bull market, it's just a regular thing. I'm not special. I'm not more intelligent than anyone. Everybody's doing it. But then I started to compare to notice that the different cryptos had different specifications and different architectures. And then I was like looking for a special spot for putting my money in. First, I didn't want to spread my money on all kinds of different currencies because I wasn't looking really into like trading and day trading it. I wasn't looking into that. So I was looking for a currency that has the best specifications, that deliver the most valuable stuff, and that could be actually a good value preservation, and that was in a in a great ratio from value delivered to in comparison to the price. So low price, high value. I also went into ADA. I bought ADA at 10 cents,
Mm-hmm.
but I just went out when I saw Nervous because what it was a huge mistake in the sense that ADA is now 12x from what I bought and sold. But the thing with ADA for me, and this is just myself, I didn't like proof of stake that much because it's just weird to have no work at all, and in like uh, the idea of having no work at all and securing the network. I just some rings were just telling me like this is not a this not economically feasible. Just and they didn't have the main ad at the time, so I was just thinking this is too expensive for what they've accomplished. And then I started to notice that people who are like already popular in the crypto space, like Charles from ETA and Gavin Wood from Dot and those guys, they would uh, they would just easily be able to hype their coins, even if they have some flaws. So I wasn't really satisfied with going to ETA just because of the guy that's famous. I was I was looking for something that delivered a mainnet, a solid
Yeah.
one, with a good tokenomics.
Actually, the guy that does run Ada Cardano, you know, I've seen some of his videos and I do love his philosophy. I really like the way he, you know, views life. So yeah, I can understand why people are drawn to him. So, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. The amount of videos he produces, I was like, I'm a software developer. This is a key point for me. I'm a software developer. I don't have time to talk to anybody, much less doing so many interviews. This guy's not working. That was my take on that. He's not programming. He's just being a public figure. This is not software. This is not crypto. Uh, that was my feeling, honestly.
Yeah,
So
but maybe with sometimes you need a face, don't you? You need that face,
yeah,
and
I agree. I agree to that. I agree
yeah,
to that
yeah.
totally. Yeah. So, but then I was like, they don't even have the mainnet. They're still going to so many basic things, so many promises, and the price is already at that level. I don't think this will work for me. I need something more solid. And I was, as I said, I wasn't looking for a 20x or 30 or 100x. I was just looking for some place in which my money will be um, safe enough. When I saw at a uh, price history, was like they went to $1 and came back to 2 cents. This is not the place in which I should be anyway. So just want some place to store my money, and like BTC was the winner still, but I was experiencing with a bull run to trade different currencies, and then I was into Reef, and it was a good promise, but they didn't deliver just any application at all yet. And then I discovered Nervos, Nervos, and then
Nervous, yeah,
yeah, Nervos, and then
nervous.
I became nervous. My hands were shaking when I saw that on Binance. I was like, I read the website, and I go like, this website is a pretty. It's a little bit complicated to understand, but if I'm understanding it well, this is the thing, because it's a full blockchain. They already have a mainnet. They're somewhat they're somehow having uh, they're developing an infrastructure which allows the coin to mimic transactions in other chains without the whole parachain thing, which is
What does that mean?
the parachain thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cosmos and Dot are two multi-chain projects, the biggest ones. So they tackle interoperability in a different way, one from another, but it's kind of the same basic principle, which is to have validators to translate the transactions. Let's see. Nervous goes in a different way. When you have in the case of Cosmos and Polkadot, you for you to have those validators, you have to come in a you have to to set up a permissioned layer. Like the validators, they have to ask for permission to be validators. So this is where human politics comes, and I don't like that, because Brazilian politics already taught me a lot. So
I'm from British politics. They're the worst.
yeah, politics in general are not that good.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like uh, Bitcoin is a full permissionless um, blockchain. That's what I'm looking into. And Nervos, they they developed a way to allow interop without the permissioned layer. So nobody has to ask permission to just anybody to develop a Dapp that can have a conversation with just any chain. This gets out a lot of complexity, human side complexity, like asking for somebody to be a validator and all of that. And then I was like, okay, this is something very cool. And then I started to read the positioning paper. I spent some full nights on that. My wife went mad at me, like that. And what I was like, trust me, you're gonna love it. And she's loving it. She's actually.
Did you give it to her so she could fall asleep?
She don't understand.
Or is she a programmer?
No, I bought a new fridge.
Oh, okay, all right.
To her without just.
Oh, right, okay, right.
I took some of the profits and like, well, she's asking for a new fridge. I will buy it because I have to. I have to have a strong symbol in my house that crypto is real, and it came to stay. So I took some of the profits after BTC bull run, after some trade. I actually did a necro trade just to get the fridge. I put the entry point and the target, and was like, when this trade is over, I'm going to buy a fridge. And I bought a fridge and then some. So, but then this was just a trade kind of weeks that I had. And when I discovered Nervos and the entry point, I was like, I saw it on half a cent in Binance. And then after I read the positioning paper, I was like, it's very cheap looking at price history. It just went sideways for a long time. It didn't took off yet, but comparing to the other blockchains, the technology and the tech team and the tokenomics, those two things together are just unbelievable. What they're doing, it's so ahead of the game in the market today. And then I'm not an optimist. I'm a pessimistic person by nature. So I was like, if I buy at that price and things go wrong for Nervos, it will still get its fair market share. So my money is safe here. That was my calculation, because the architecture is so far ahead, the specifications, how they are managing the software and the economics, and then we get strong partners above that. When I saw Sequoia Cap in the website, I went like, well, I will just buy it and then learn about the coin, because Sequoia wouldn't buy just anything. And that was pretty much it. When I saw Sequoia, I was like, I'm in, and then I'm learning about the coin.
Didn't Nervos partner with Cardano as well at some point? Are we still partnering?
Yes. Yeah, they are partnering on the. They're partnering on the. I'm aware that I've talked about a lot of nasty things about Cardano, but they are very good at researching.
I was going to say, I don't think you've said nasty things. They've just said they're a little bit different, going in a different direction.
Yeah. It's only by criteria. I want to buy something that's not released, so that's the first thing. So, but Cardano is very good into Charles Hoskinson. He's a very good researcher. I have to acknowledge that. And then the Nervos team is partnering with Cardano on researching how do we call that? Researching smart contracts together, because Cardano and Nervos, they share a similar philosophy on how to do smart contracts, like the UTXO thing and so on. When I saw that, I was like, okay, fine, but Sequoia Cap was a huge badge for me, because the guys were into
Zoom. So who is Sequoia Cap then?
Sequoia Capital is one of the
venture capitalists.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a venture capitalist firm that bought many of the coin in in the first private sale. They were into Zoom when Zoom was just starting. They 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 invested in Zoom, they invested in Google, they invested in Airbnb, they invested in GitHub, which is one of the biggest brands for software developers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many companies. Well, and then I was like, this positioning paper is not written by accident. Um, Jen is Jen and Kevin are two great software developers and economic thinkers. So Sequoia Cap saw that in them, and it's actually Sequoia Cap China, which is even bigger because now we get Nervos being allowed in China, one of the first blockchains that were officially um, approved by China government. So we have a global scale blockchain that will get just anywhere to sign transactions. So too many things that in one bucket for me to just miss a half a cent price, right?
Okay. so
Too
so
much things.
so one of the questions I would want to ask, what do you think Nervos is going to do for the entire industry? Like,
Okay.
what would you think? What's going to be, once Nervos comes along, what's going to change?
Okay. First, Nervos has already come along, so it's already here. It's when I think about Nervos, I think about Bitcoin. I can clearly compare both of them. I also think about Ravencoin, and Ravencoin is a proof of work blockchain that has the capacity of tokenizing real world assets and so on. But then when we come to Nervos, the first huge thing it offers, and um, there's too much in my head right now. But let's see. Uh, Bitcoin is a solid blockchain. No questions about it. It holds like $1 trillion today. Nobody has ever been able to hack the blockchain per se. And Nervos get that from Bitcoin. They started a blockchain from zero. And I think the biggest thing today about blockchains is companies are starting to see value in the blockchain because of Bitcoin boom. And they go like, okay, blockchain is huge. And next thing they will start to do is, I have to develop some things in the blockchain. I have to tokenize something. I have to validate transactions on the blockchain, on public blockchains, because they don't want to be accused of being misleading their customers. So most big companies will start to look after blockchain in order to be more transparent and more trustable. This is a huge thing for the industry, just for any company. It's like Amazon, Google, Facebook, they all want to be more have a better trust from the users, from everybody. So there's just it's impossible to do that without a public blockchain today. All of them, people will mistrust Facebook, Google, Apple. They like the brand, but they go like, these guys are manipulating the market some way. So the way the companies will look for being having more trust from people will be in blockchains, public blockchains, because they can't spoil with it. Like if I say this and it's registered in the public blockchain, then it's there. It's the proof. And governments will be obligated to do that as well, because nobody trusts government. So they will start to moving assets and validations to blockchain so they get more transparent. I think it will be a much later movement, but
I think so.
Yeah, they would just be obligated to do that. At some point, they will give up. Okay, I'm doing some things in the blockchain so that you can like see what I'm doing. They would just not be able to avoid that at some point. And then when they start to look for which blockchain should I put my things in, they'll start to ask for the IT departments. So in which blockchain should I deploy our value? So when it comes to that, many developers will just recommend the hyped stuff. The lazy ones will recommend the hyped stuff. Oh, you can put on this and that and that one. But I guess Nervos is coming to a point in which when a software architects read Nervos positioning paper and go to the code and to the layers they are developing, they'll go like, well, I can just write one dApp that can reach any user anywhere in the internet without asking permission, without having to ask permission to anybody. And it's a very sustainable network. I'm going to that. It's a no-brainer for just any developer.
So when you say sustainable, explain a little bit more about that.
Okay. The first sustainability.
Just keep it. Don't go too in depth, but yeah, keep it quite high level.
Sorry, I talk a lot. First thing about being sustainable is I can reach more users easily. Nervos does that. And this is the work that the team is doing, developing infrastructure so that it is easy to just reach any user anywhere on the internet. This is the first thing. The second thing is the network itself must be sustainable on the long term. And then is where there's this this positive incentive cycle that each user or stakeholder that works in Nervos system, the Nervos tokenomics actually is designed so that any participant, when he does the thing that benefits him the most, it will benefit a lot the other stakeholders as well. So it's not like in ETH today we have that fight like POS versus POW, proof of work versus proof of stake. The miners are seeing some changes that would not benefit them, and there's also this debate going on. The developers pay a high fee, so it benefits miners, but not the developers, the users actually. So when you get tokenomics like that, in which one party will be, when one party gets the best for him, the other parties just go mad. It's just not good for the ecosystem. And Nervos is completely different from that. They did a pretty good job of designing the token so that when miners are okay, users are okay. When developers are okay, miners and users are okay. When I earn as a developer, my users will earn even more. Miners will earn even more. Long-term holders will earn even more.
And the value of a coin goes up as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then there's a key point in there in the value of the coin. When you look at the original intention for Bitcoin, you see like this was originally designed to be a day-to-day currency. So this is like the original intention. And because of certain aspects of Bitcoin, it just became a store of value because it's too slow and everything. Okay, it's more efficient than storing dollars in an account. So people are just hoarding Bitcoin to preserve value. This is not Bitcoin's original intention. So there's this positive cycle in Bitcoin that's mentioned in Nervos tokenomics, which is the more people trust in the network, the higher is the miners' reward. So more miners come in and more.
There's more incentive, isn't there? So
yeah, it's a positive cycle incentive. That Ethereum is like losing a little bit of that in the short term. I think they will solve that in the long term, but right now it's just a mess. So in Bitcoin we have that, but there's one thing that Bitcoin doesn't have, which is the capacity, the token itself, the Bitcoin itself, has no value, no intrinsic value, no real world value.
Would you mean by that? Because I see a share price of about $60,000 at the moment. So explain what you mean by that.
The thing that holds Bitcoin in there right now, it's because it's a very efficient network. So enough people has trusted that network, in order to make the coin be at the price it is in right now. Nervos network, on the other hand, they've managed to uh, um, lots of things to say about that. Let me try to
They
go.
are doing a lot, aren't
they? Yeah, they're doing a lot. I usually say like if you want to learn about Nervos, give me some days to explain it to you. So you're getting nervous.
Yeah, I know it's taking me a while to grasp some of the concepts, but go on.
Yeah.
So
in Bitcoin, we have too many miners, so the network is safe, and then people trust in the network, have trust in enough trust in the network in order to buy one Bitcoin. So this is the positive cycle, and as the more people buys it, prices go sky high, more miners comes in, networks more, it's even safer, and so on. Nervos network does a different thing. When you buy a Bitcoin and hold it, or just trade it or spend it, you are creating some data that we call a state, and that data has to be held by all miners. All the CPU nodes that's a part in the consensus protocol of Bitcoin, they have to store some data in their hard drives. But this is a cost that are not going to Bitcoin's account sheet. There's nobody keeping track of that risk, of that cost. So if a miner has to come into Bitcoin or a pool of miners, they have to be able to pay for that storage. They have to be able to pay for that storage, and users shouldn't bother on that. They're just minding their own lives.
they're just using it. Yeah,
They're just using it. Magically, they think it's all free once they pay for the coin. This is a very dangerous place to be, because in Ethereum we call that space the state space, and in Ethereum, which is a network in which you can tokenize assets and then do things like going to represent a share of the company in this Ethereum network. When you do that and allow people to do transactions, you get pretty wild applications, as in the DeFi world today, but you always have much more transactions than you have in Bitcoin network. So you have much more need for space storage. So in ETH, we have the state bloat problem, which is, as ETH works to scale transactions even more than they do today, so um, so they will scale the cost of storing state in the network. So this is a very dangerous place. It's an even more dangerous place to be than Bitcoin, because all the miners have to pay for that storage, and it will grow exponentially over time. And today in Ethereum, you have like the crowd sale for EOS. This is a famous story. When EOS did a crowd sale for their tokens, they stored the information in the Ethereum blockchain. They don't even need Ethereum anymore because they have their own mainnet, but their transactions is still stored as current state in Ethereum. So any miners who want to participate on Ethereum consensus protocol, they have to have space to store a transaction that's like, I don't know, 5 years old. I really don't know. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just all transactions that doesn't need to be there anymore. But they still have to keep with those transactions as valid state in the Ethereum network.
Is that because it's just part
This
of a
is
blockchain? Yeah.
this just part of their blockchain.
Right.
So in the in Nervos, they designed the token so that you can only write as much state storage as you have in CKBs. So for each CKB you have, you can store 1 byte of storage.
Okay.
And here's where scarcity comes in, because when you people we usually read things in the Telegram group like, oh, it's too much supply. Well, let's go for some supply talk here. When you're looking on supply, you should look for the one indivisible unit of something. Like in gold, people trade on the grams, like 1 gram of gold would cost X amount of dollars. And on Bitcoin, people do the wrong thing. They think about the 21 million Bitcoins, but they should actually look for how many Satoshis there is in the network, because the Satoshi is the indivisible part of it. So when
Right.
everybody has Bitcoins, they must probably be trading things in Satoshis, not in Bitcoins. I wouldn't price my house in Bitcoin, like 4 or 5 Bitcoins or 1 Bitcoin, whatever. I would,
Unless you've got a very big house.
yeah. I would price things in the future when, if and when Bitcoin is really a currency, things will be priced in Satoshis, because this is the least,
Yeah.
the indivisible,
Yeah.
indivisible part. Nervos on the other way. And if you look at Satoshis, we have a quadrillion of them. So this is what a big supply means. It's a quadrillion Satoshis, something like that.
It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's haven't heard about anything that goes like that, and people calls it scarce. It's a wild story that the whole industry came into. The 21 billion Bitcoin. I don't care about the whole Bitcoin. I care about how many Satoshis there is in the network. So a quadrillion of it. If everybody has it, people start to think about Satoshis, not in whole Bitcoins. So in Nervos network, besides, although it is a currency that has 31 billion market cap and uh, 1.6 billion each year, what is this billions of coins? Each CKB, it's equivalent to 1 byte, and that's it. And when you think about that, the whole 31 billion CKBs, it's just like a cell phone storage. So one cell phone, one cell phone storage.
So, because CKB is a asset storage, isn't it? It's to store your assets, your valuable assets, be it maybe a financial document or shares, or something on your land registry for your house, to prove that you're the owner. So it can be store anything of value, right?
Yeah, it's this and all of that we talked before. So
yeah.
In CKB you have just something like how ETH is doing it. You can create new tokens and deploy in the network, and UFTs or just any kind of assets you can store in the network. But you can just store as much information as you hold in CKB. So if you have 100 CKB, you can store 100 bytes of data. Which data? I don't know. A balance for a token. If you want to store, let's see, a wrapped ETH on it, like translating ETH from Ethereum to Nervos blockchain, you have the wrapped ETH. So if you want to do that, you have to have 150 CKBs in your wallet, and they will be like locked as long as you have your wrapped ETH held in Nervos network. So if you have like 10 different currencies, 10 different tokens on CKB network, you have to have 150 CKBs x 10. So you have to have 1,000, like 1,500 CKBs in your wallet. They will just be unusable as long as you have that balance in your account, in your wallet. So this is where the team started to think in a more sustainable way. This comes to the sustainable part. So the whole network stores state that is a kind of a cell phone storage. And in order to get some of that, you have to have some CKBs. So it takes off from the miners the am I online yet? I think the record, I think we fell. Or
I don't
not.
know what happened there. Yeah, the recording disappeared. Oh,
it's still
so
recording.
I was listening, I was hearing, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still recording. I don't know what happened there.
Let's continue.
Okay, but I know, but you were explaining that, you know, I'm kind of understanding CKB is a place where you assets, right?
Yes.
So do you want any sort of to make some final points about Nervos and everything?
Okay.
What would you say? What would you say to, you know, one couple of final points to add, if if I'm not putting you on the spot there?
Okay. Well, the final point is that we should record other conversations so we can go on deeper on those subjects.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that.
Yeah, I think it worked pretty well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The main final point is that Nervos is a collection of great selling points that works in synergy with each other. The features, the tokenomics, they work so well together. There's not I couldn't find one point in which, like, oh, this is a bad thing in the economics. There are many dangers that a blockchain can have, and I personally, I just hold CKB, and I'm thinking about a lot. I'm thinking a lot about CKB, the Nervos features and economics, and the team. I've been investigated it for like the last whole month, obsessively. I still couldn't find a hole in that. So it's a very good technology, very good technology. And
I hope
economic.
I hope you're keeping your wife happy with, you know, the fridge or something else whilst you're doing this investigating.
Yeah, there's some other gifts coming. I have to realize some of my profits. But yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Rodrigo, listen, thank you so much for answering my questions. I really appreciate it. Okay. And listen, we're cool. Going to definitely talk again. I know we're going to chat on the Telegram group as well. But let's do it. Yeah, looking forward to, you know, having another interview. And yeah, actually, just what you up to for the rest of the weekend? Anything else? Any plans?
Oh, just hanging out with my family.
Family stuff, yeah. Good. Okay, you take care of yourself, yeah? All right.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.
See ya.